Well, we are in the Laupahoehoe Forest Reserve. This is a beautiful forest, really gorgeous, healthy Ohia forest, healthy koa Ohia forest. As you go north, there's more and more. As you go Mauka, more and more nice, healthy Ohia forest. We're trying to make it so this fungus is not able to spread further north or into any of the other intact, healthy forest around here. This is a beautiful forest, and we're really trying to contain it and reduce it and eliminate it from spreading any further than it already has in this forest. Where is this thing at? Is this part of a larger infestation? Is this a tree out in the middle of the woods that's really important that we know what's going on around it?
Like whenever you see a frost beetle?
When you get that positive result, you start thinking bigger scale. What is this? Where is this tree in the landscape? What are the implications of this tree being positive out in the landscape? And we also don't jump to any conclusions right straight off, especially in these really high priority areas, high value areas like this. We don't make any rash decisions. We get a positive out here, then we send it into Lisa Keith's lab, and we get a confirmation before we make any kind of decisions. So this tree is a big, beautiful Ohia tree. It's got, we estimate, about 15 to 20% live canopy up there, predominantly dead. There's brown leaves that are still on the branches up in the top. It's a big, beautiful tree. It's got a really high habitat value. We don't want to give it rod, and the way that we could do that is by wounding this tree and exposing it to the Ceratocystis fungus, just like the airborne inoculum that could be present here. So instead of what we normally do is we'll take the hatchet, we'll dig into the tree itself to look for any kind of staining. If there is staining, then we would take our drill sample from the stained area. Instead, what we're going to do, because we want to reduce the amount of damage that we do to this tree, reduce the amount of potential inoculum that's getting into the tree and possibly infecting the tree, we're just going to take drill samples. Now, if my understanding is if we drill and we don't hit the fungal threshold, if we miss the spots that are inoculated with the fungus, then we're not going to get a positive sample, even though the tree may be positive. So it's more of a crapshoot, but because we don't want to make a big wound from the hatchet, we're just going to make a 1/4 inch size wound with a drill bit and then quickly cover it up with some pruning seal.
We would start out by collecting the sample, and then we use a solution. We put them into these containers with the beads and the solution to extract the DNA into the fluid.
Well, the lab in a suitcase has been really nice because we can take the samples and then within a couple of hours we can have results, preliminary results from the samples. Well, the lab in a suitcase is a real nice tight little package. It's about yay big. We start out by putting up a pop tent, easy enough, and then we'll take the lab in a suitcase, take all the pieces out,
heat it, and then we'll put it in with a binding solution and magnetic beads that will attract the DNA to those magnetic beads. We'll wash the solution several times and then release the DNA from the magnetic beads, mix it with another solution that this machine will then measure the fluorescence for the presence of the Ceratocystis.
Which makes it really beneficial because if, say, for example, we were to find something, a positive, in a remote location and we're still out there, then we can immediately go out and do more samples so we can get a better sense of, you know, how widespread this possible infestation is.
It certainly helps prioritize which areas to focus on, which trees to focus on. If we are pulling samples out and we're getting a lot of, positive results, then obviously that's an area that we want to focus our attention on. And if we're getting lots of negatives, then maybe it's time to move on to a different area. Obviously it's a little disheartening because you hate to see the rapid Ohia death in new areas. Sometimes it's expected if it's an area that's already tested positive for Ceratocystis.
We're looking at these high priority areas for the most part. So if you're adjacent to a nice healthy Ohia forest, you're more likely to get a quick response. If you're in the middle of a massive infestation, then most likely we'll talk you through how to take the sample, who to get it to. We are focusing our work on these high priority, high-value forests, trying to contain it from spreading into these high-value forests.